Okay, so hello everybody. I think we're live and we've had some technical difficulties. So I have to actually click over to another window where I'm going to email the new link to join this Hangout. And that's going to be right there. And hopefully my guests are going to be able to appear. So I am Evan Kopelson. Welcome to Pitchnado. Who's ever online, you're watching the very first School of Online Business pitch session for joint ventures. The way this is going to work is that assuming that I can get my guests back on the show, I'm going to be taking pitches from students and clients of mine that are part of the School of Online Business who are also coaches and building their own businesses. And anyone who wants to pitch me is going to have a chance to do that. We're going to take about 4 minutes. Each person is going to be able to present your idea to me. And then I'm going to ask Q&A. And after that, I'm going to make a decision whether I want to joint venture with you, whether I want to partner with you, and we'll go from there. So what I'm doing now, I had started this Hangout early, and I had my guests with me, and we were troubleshooting technical difficulties, and everything was working except the broadcast, and I couldn't get the broadcast to start. So now I am broadcasting this live, and now I can't see my participants. So it's not going to be easy to take pitches without participants, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to get on to this call. So welcome to live broadcasts. I've heard this happens. This is the first time this is happening to me. So what I've done was I've taken this link for this live Hangout, and I've shared it to the Facebook mail that the participants that had confirmed that they're going to be on told me they were going to be on. So that link, which is the link I just sent, if you click that link, is anybody there? Use this link. Okay, so if anybody is there, they're going to be coming on. If not, I'm not going to be able to take any pitches, and it's unfortunate because I have 3 people who are in line waiting to pitch, and we've been coordinating for the last few minutes. So I'm going to just kill some time here while I'm trying to get my viewers and participants on the line. And I'm waiting. I'm not getting any responses on the Facebook mail group, so it's hard for me to tell if anybody is seeing and able to use the link. So this is very fun. This is live YouTube on air via Google Hangouts, and so let me just go ahead and I'll tell you a little bit about me, and hopefully it'll give time for the participants to get online. Again, I have my little Facebook mail open, and I'm hearing that the link that I'm sending is taking people back on with the other Hangout, which is very, very interesting. So the link, please everybody hang up from that call. I need to get everybody to hang up from the call that they're on, and then they can get back on with the new link. Sorry about this, viewers. This is a lot of fun. And here we go. I've got Krista here. See, it works. Okay. So welcome, Krista. I'm so glad you can make it.
Me too. Thank you.
Okay, and Hazel's here. Okay, now we've got a show. Okay, so what I'm going to ask you, this is awesome. I hope Kat can join us too. We've got at least two of you. So what I'm going to ask you to do um, is mute yourselves out for this part of the broadcast. And you should, if you float your mouse right over where the main window is, you'll see the pop-up buttons, and click on the little mute microphone button up at the top. And yeah, there you go. Hazel's muted out and Krista's muted out. Okay, this is terrific. So, all right, about 10 minutes getting started, but this is it's grist for the mill, as they call it. So, welcome everybody to Pitchnado. I'm Evan Kopelson, your host. We're going to be taking live pitches today from School of Online Business students. These are for joint ventures. And where it looks like Hazel dropped off the call and is going to have to reconnect. So let me go through quickly on kind of a little bit of my story, where I'm coming from, what I'm doing here, and why I'm doing this. And then we'll go right into the pitches, and the show's probably only going to be about a half hour today. And I'm really excited to be online. I'm excited to have everybody here. This is my first live event, and here we go. So my name is Evan Kopelson. I am a School of Online Business instructor and a marketing funnel mastery coach. Marketing funnel mastery and the School of Online Business are brands started by Mike Klingler. And Mike I've been studying with for a really long time, since he had an old product called Renegade Professional, and that's where I learned how to build my first blog. And I've been with Mike now for probably about 4 years, and he started the School of Online Business, and the School of Online Business is relatively new. It's been around in kind of soft launch for a little while now, and so everyone who is going to be pitching today is in the School of Online Business. So where did I come from? Before I was doing online business, I was in Hollywood. I used to be a lawyer ages ago, and I worked in the music business. And then for a long time, I worked in the movie business and the television business as well. In between, I was a yoga teacher, and I still practice yoga all the time. I miss teaching, actually. So what I love about this is dealing with technology and being able to work with people and help people get to where they want to go in life. And it's very fulfilling. It's very rewarding. That's why I became a coach. So let me go through a couple things. I just want to show you some personal pictures. This is, let's see. Oh yeah, I'm also going to be teaching WordPress mastery at UC Berkeley this summer. And I've created a product where I teach people how to build their own websites, and it's called Ninja Blog Secrets. And Ninja Blog Secrets is a great program where if you're not savvy with computers, if you've never built a website before, I take you through click by click and show you how to do everything from getting your own domain to setting up your hosting, creating the elements for your personal brand. So you can get Ninja Blog Secrets on ninjablogsecrets.com, and it's also on Udemy. I don't know if anyone's ever been on Udemy. Udemy is one of the largest marketplaces for online courses, and Ninja Blog Secrets is on Udemy now, and it's have a lot of students, over 1,500 students on Udemy, and it's really rewarding to work with everybody who's in that program. And so I just want to give a shout out to any Udemy students who happen to be watching this right now. I actually kept the invitation list for viewing pretty small today. You know, I did blast it out on G+, on Google+, but since it was the first time and I thought there might be some technical hurdles to get through, I didn't broadcast this very widely. But anyway, okay, so I teach the course. I'm going to be teaching at Berkeley. I do personal branding. I have a blog called Green Media News, you might know me from, where I blog about progressive issues. I'm just taking you through a little intro so you get to know me a little better. I think over time I'm going to host different events that are specific to each of these brands of mine so that I can build those out and actually speak to the audience that most cares about each one of those niches. So a couple of personal pictures just to warm it up a little bit. These are some pictures with me and my dad working on some movies together. Someone just sent me this picture, the one on the bottom. That was actually from this time of year. It's Passover, so happy Passover to anyone celebrating Passover. That picture was taken in Poland in 1988 when we were working on a movie called Triumph of the Spirit. And the one up top is on the set of The Fugitive, which my father produced, and that picture was actually taken by Annie Leibovitz. So that is me and my dad, and hopefully he's watching this show. Hey Dad, what's up? Give a big shout out to my family. And this picture, which I just made last night, this is a picture of the pod under the big tree in a house shared by 12 people where I used to live. So I used to live in a place called Pod City, and when I gave up my Hollywood career, I gave up my Hollywood income, and I ended up moving from a huge place on the beach into this teeny little pod. That was quite charming, but it had challenges. And the reason I'm showing this to you guys is to just say, you know, life is a journey, and you never know where it's going to take you. Sometimes from month to month, I don't even know where it's going to take me. But you know, we keep moving forward, and today is an example of this. Hosting a live show, never done it before. Very excited to use this technology, and it only brings good things. So I'm going to not take up a lot more time. I'm going to move right into pitching, I think. And I think that I've got two people online now. I've got Krista and Hazel. And Krista, I believe, needs to go first because I think Krista is at work and taking a break from work. So I want to make sure that Krista can get back to work. So go ahead, Krista, and unmute yourself.
Okay.
And okay, so we have Krista Von Willer here, and Krista is a coach and a published author and a fantastic person. Tell us a little bit about where you're coming from, Krista, before we get into the pitch. And welcome to Pitchnado.
All right. Well, thank you. Where I'm coming from is kind of similar to you, Evan, where not to the Hollywood level by any means, but leaving a well-paying job, going from 60 to 0 in a few seconds it felt like, and having your whole world shift, and then how do you build on that to bring yourself back to a place of comfort but just pure joy and happiness, and helping others all along the way, and where it's a complete win-win. So this is definitely my focus now. I have the book under my belt, which was an amazing experience and an amazing collaboration, which Hazel was a part of, and the school has been an amazing platform to not only learn what we're learning, but also just to have this immediate vast network of people to just reach out to as needed, and there's so much love, so I really appreciate that. Just along the way, I'm developing my brand, as you said, and I felt like this would be an awesome opportunity. I am quite an admirer of the Shark Tank idea, so as it was presented, I thought this would be so cool, and I just love that the school offers this as an opportunity for its students to work in this way with the instructors, so thank you.
Awesome, you're very welcome. So do you have any questions before we get started in how this pitch is going to run, or are you ready to jump in and give me your 4 minutes? Now, I haven't yet figured out how to have a countdown timer. I think in future pitch shows, I'm going to try to have a countdown clock on screen where we can actually see the 4 minutes counting down. For now, I'm just going to let you go for 4 minutes and then cut you off. Unless you want a 1 minute warning, I could jump in and do that, but that'll interrupt the pitch.
Okay, I'm thinking it will not even be 4 minutes long, but yeah, you just guide me as needed, and we'll just make it happen.
Okay, terrific. So we're going to hear from Krista Von Willer now with your 4 minute pitch, and it's okay if it's a little over, a little under. I just didn't want to, have 10-minute pitches, you know. So we'll
Awesome.
talk after that. But anyway, I'm really excited to hear your pitch, and I'm really excited to have Hazel pitch. So go ahead, you're on.
Okay, thank you. So I'm just going to follow the script, not the script, but the kind of the guide that you presented as a way to establish the format. And so the name that I'm currently envisioning is Perfect Wellness. And I'm looking at a tagline of balancing the chaos in your life, or how to balance the chaos in your life. Who needs my product? This is where I'm still a little iffy because I just need to get very specific as to the niche that I'm calling out to. I am currently applying my business model, so to speak, to anyone that I can gain access to at this point, and that ranges from 17-year-olds up to almost 60-year-olds. It's basically a way to soothe them through what their life currently holds and how to bring them to that place of sustained wellness, whatever that means for them, you know, making it extremely personal for them as we, you know, do as coaches. They want it from me because I'm realizing about myself being a soother, being extremely empathetic. I am, in a way, a human translator, a way to say, you know, this is your reality, this is their reality. How do we marry the two so everyone still gets along but still is able to honor their own authentic self, and as a way to provide tools for them to reach that point and guide them to that place that they desire to be. And why do I want to partner with Evan? Because I extremely love your zest. I just appreciate the go get it attitude, and I think it would just be really fun to work with you.
All right, so that was a fast pitch. Wow, you came in well under 4 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you for the kind words. So tell me a little bit more about how you think this product would roll out. So I know that you have, you know, you've purchased online products before. You've seen how they go. Is this going to be a live coaching event product, or is this a pre-recorded product? Have you put any thought into how many modules there are in the product, anything like
Mm.
that?
Very beginning stages, I would say, and what I envision for myself is to be up on a stage speaking in front of a large group of people. I definitely desire that, and I desire adding in the components of humor as well as the, you know, thoughtful message that is delivered. I love the idea of Google Hangouts, so I envision myself doing, whether it's this platform specifically, a blog talk radio, a podcast type of format, things of that nature, things that make me personally accessible to reach to that audience, and at the same time make that interaction interactive. I don't know if that sounds completely redundant, but I want the audience to not only be in listening mode, I want them to be given the opportunity to participate as well. It to me, having gone through the process that I've personally gone to come to this point, for people to feel valued is of the utmost importance. It's part of that process of gaining trust and gaining, you know, the putting your authenticity out there, so then they find you to be credible. So it's kind of the long answer to your question, but I do see myself more in that speaker mode. The pre-recorded stuff, I see the value, but I have to be honest, when I personally opt in on a lead capture page and I'm getting emails on an ongoing basis, it almost feels like you're being inundated. So I'm not as attracted to necessarily that email approach for marketing. I don't know if that's hurtful or harmful, but that's just kind of my feel.
Okay, so I'm starting to see a couple of the challenges that I'm seeing. What I like about it is that you're looking to connect with people and then ultimately have a live venue where everybody can come and you can speak to people all at the same time. I see that as happening down the way,
Mm-hmm.
because it's hard to start a product and, you know, you're not sure who your audience is yet. Um,
Yes.
I never know how many people are watching this live show, for instance. Like, it keeps toggling between 0 and 1 viewers. So I don't know if there's really only one person out there right now, or if, last time I did like a 5-minute test about 6 months ago on Hangouts on Air. And I was with somebody and we did a quick test to see if anybody was watching, and it said the same thing, like 1 and 0 viewers. And I ended up getting emails from people later saying, "Hey, I saw you when you were online." And I said, "Well, I didn't know that you were watching," And so there's really no way to tell. But I will say this: until you know who your audience is, it's hard to fill a room. So you have to know who to invite. You have to be able to have their emails to invite them. You have to know that they're going to click on your emails and open them. What you mentioned to me, which is really, I think, an important point, is that sometimes when you opt into a list and you get daily emails, I have lists that have daily emails too, and then I have other lists that don't have any emails going out. It's actually part of the art form of how you're going to communicate with your audience, and whether or not they're going to feel inundated, or whether they're going to feel that what you're giving them in your emails, whether it's every day or a few times a week, is bringing value to them, or if it's taking stuff out of them. And that, I believe, is where the art form meets the science of, you can figure out the technology, you can load up your campaigns with pre-written sequences, you can have YouTube videos to link to, but what's really needed is the content strategy that's going to basically walk you through the process of meeting and getting to know people long distance. And I don't think there's a right way. There are certainly wrong ways. And so what I see as the challenge, and that's why we're here, is to be able to take an idea like this and hone it and sharpen it until we have some kind of an idea for how it's going to look, feel, all of that stuff. So if we both agree that at some point there's going to be a live event where you're going to be able to speak in front of a room, on stage, however many people are there, we have to back out from there to where we are now. So somewhere in between, we're going to need to create a product. And the product is going to have to attract people. It's going to have to sell. They're going to have to want to buy it. They're going to have to take it, the product, and use it. And they're going to have to engage with you as the expert and with me as the presenter. And the way these products are going to go, incidentally, is that I'm going to guide you through, in regular coaching sessions, through the School of Online Business platform, in all of the elements needed to flesh out this idea, to make it real, and then send you away with homework each week. Or maybe we meet every other week, but it has to be at least every other week that we meet regularly through this process so that the process moves forward. And some of it will be technology training. It'll be figuring out what software you're going to use, what computers you're using. And this is going to be the same for all of you. You'll make the product. We'll coordinate on it. I'll end up introducing you as the expert, and then offering that product on my platform on the School of Online Business, which is the opportunity that Mike gave to all of us, because instructors are allowed to offer workshops. So at some point, when you get through all of the certifications of the School of Online Business, you'll be able to actually make your own workshops and offer them. But this is a way to get into business and to test market and to be able to attract a lot of the new students that Mike's going to be bringing in over the next few months and over the next year or whatever. So let's back out to kind of where we are now and figure out what kind of product this can be. Because, okay, so are you a Ninja Blog Secrets student, Krista? I forget.
Not currently.
Okay, so we'll get into it a little more with Hazel when Hazel's speaking. Could talk about the experience of taking that product with me teaching, even though it's pre-recorded. So what I've done there, and the reason that I use it as an example because it's the easiest thing for me to point to as something I've done, is that this is a pre-recorded product, but the real juice of it takes place on the Facebook support page where people get to interact with me when they have questions. Now, what I've done is I've recorded the things that are the essential elements of building your brand. And every
Mhm.
time I build a website, I go through maybe 1,000 little steps, and I systematized that, and I made them, in little bite-sized nuggets, because every client I ever worked with, teaching them how to build a site, I've had to teach them the same 1,000 things in the same order. So I decided after a while, why keep doing that? Record it, systematize it, make it available, and then create the support structure so that if people have questions along the way, they have a place to come and ask.
Mhm.
That way, because each person's situation in a lot of ways is the same, but everyone is different. So
Mhm.
certain people get stuck at different areas, and I try to address everything in the product, but of course there's going to be things where people want to do something maybe that I didn't cover, or they are skipping ahead, and then I have to remind them, no, you didn't do those classes yet, go back to school. And so at some point, um, we have to figure out what this product is. So I understand this is a transformational coaching product, and that it's about acceptance and about transformation. These are the keywords that I've taken out of what you've pitched.
Mhm.
What I'm not clear on is how this is being given out,
Mhm.
uh, in terms of how you're going to introduce and frame the product, and
Mhm.
where you're going to meet people from where they're starting. So for Ninja Blog Secrets, for instance, I meet people from saying, you want to get your brand online, you want to have a personal brand, you want to have your own domain, you want to have your own email address at your own domain, you want to be able to have websites up there like Ninja Blog Secrets or like MFM Coach or like my, evankopelson.com, or any of my websites that serve green media news, any different format. You have to build that. And so this product will teach you how to buid that. Tell me
Mhm.
how your product, where are you going to, this is where I'm turning up the heat on the Shark Tank. Tell me where you're going to meet me. If I have introduced you as the expert, um, give me your best shot at what your first video would sound like if somebody says, okay, I love Krista's story, she's compassionate, I like her voice, I like her soft character, and I like her sensibilities, that she wants to help me feel accepted and empowered, and I've got some issues I want to get over, and I trust Krista to bring me there. So I'm gonna drop my 50 credits or however much this workshop costs, and I'm going to wait for the email to come, and I'm going to get the email that says, click this link, and you're going to see your video number one from
Mhm.
Krista, and then now you're on. What does it say?
So we start out by talking about and visualizing a scale, and the scale is 0 to 100%. So on that scale, as you're looking at it, you're envisioning yourself from a mental, emotional, spiritual, physical place. So this all-inclusive place, how do you feel, generally speaking, on an average basis? Where do you fall on that scale? 0 is, I could care less if I died in the next 5 minutes, and 100 is, I'm on top of the world and all is well. Where do you fall? Based on where you fall, if you're 79% and below, then I definitely strongly recommend that we speak further. If you're 80% and above, let's still talk, maybe on how to maintain that for yourself, but I'm more focused on those that are falling below that 80% mark. I want to know, what is your 79% worth? What does bring you to that place? And then what are the areas that are lacking that keep you from moving up into the 80s and the 90s?
Okay, so you're talking about what I call sometimes the confidence gap, or the self-worth gap. It's gap gap analysis, we call it, as a but as a coach, it's about identifying the gap, identifying the blocks to total wholeness, and
Mhm. Mhm.
then spotting and removing the blocks. And so
Yep.
that's where it becomes individual. Now, have you thought about how we can systematize this and make it an actual product? Because where I'm coming from, where I'm sitting, um, we need to have all of the elements in place for this to become a little cottage industry, right? So you've already
Yeah.
said you want to be an event leader, okay?
Mhm.
And you're already a coach. So if we're looking in the, kind of in the Brendan Burchard universe of author, speaker,
Yeah.
coach, consultant, event leader, okay, you're already an author, you're already a coach, you want to be an event leader, you're spotting that, and now we need to uh,
Mhm.
fill the gap. We need to create the products. Brendan has a lot of products. Mike has a lot of products. So we need to
Right.
create products because products are the things that people are going to be able to use when we are doing something else. And so, if someone else has to go to work, if someone else is not able to be on a live hangout,
Mhm.
okay, and we don't have a product that can meet them where they are in their time zone and be on demand
Mhm.
for them, then we're losing critical market share, we're losing reach, we're
Yeah.
losing people who actually could benefit from this product. So what we need to do is create certain elements of this that will allow somebody to feel like they're being coached and guided by you, without you having to be there all the time. Otherwise, you can only serve as many people as you can provide personal services to
Gotcha.
real time. So that's the biggest problem I see with this product, the way that it's framed. Now, what I like about this product, what I like about your idea, is that it's a transformational product that's going to help lift people up. And that is why I am alive in the world doing what I'm doing. So you're speaking my language there. You want to help people who are having a harder time with life, or they don't have the confidence, or they don't have the self-worth, and you want to fill them up and tell them that they are good and they have goodness in them. They have a lot to offer the world. You want to show them they have a light that needs to shine. Wherever they're coming from, maybe they haven't had the support from family or friends. Maybe they have had failures. Maybe they've been afraid to try things, financial setbacks, all different
Mhm.
kinds of things, relationship failures. We've all had them, and the ones that can remember that there's something inside us that's worth living are the ones that end up, using this as grist for the mill, so to speak, and then going and living our lives. Now, we have a big gap here to fill, and that is figuring out how to systematize this product. So, what I would like to do, honestly, Krista, is send you back to the drawing board to think about this a little bit more, and even come back a little later on this call, because I'd like to hear what Hazel has to say. Uh,
Yes.
and I'd like to hear from Hazel a little bit. If you go off here, do you have to get back to work? Or are you not going to be able to rejoin?
That's probably the case because I actually snuck home as part of my strategy to join you guys today, so I
Okay.
probably have to get back to work. But I do
Okay.
want to
So
mention, just in closing, Evan, if you don't mind, based on what you're saying, I have created a tool and I am currently calling it the Glide Guide. And I'd be happy to show that to you. I'll send it later and you could peek at it.
I like that. Tell me about the glide guide. I like it. It rhymes. It's catchy.
Yeah. So currently it's a diagram. In the center of that diagram it says feel good always. So that's our center, that's our focus. On the outskirts of that is where we're making sure that what stays on the outside of that is making sure we're not blaming, making sure that we're not complaining, being mindful of not putting out too many expectations, staying focused that really all is perfect the way it's happening, that we can find joy in everything we need if we just, and calm, staying in that place of just looking everything as perfect. Knowing that we're always doing our best. There doesn't have to be this, again, if we're setting expectations, we feel like we're not doing our best because we're not meeting somebody's expectations, which usually aren't our own. And then another piece is maintaining that positive mental attitude. I was inspired last night to add a new component to the chart, and I'm calling it be aware of the repeat cycle. How often are you talking about the same things over and over again? So that was something I have come up with over the last year or so.
So let me ask you this. I like this. It sounds like if you were coaching somebody in real time, if it was one person, it sounds to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, that I would come to a session with you. We would spend the first session getting to know me and where my gap is, and I would rank myself on that 0 to 100 scale for you, right? And then you would drill down with me onto where my gap is. And then at the end of the session, you might send me home with this glide guide. And I would then have to work through that worksheet and send it back to you before the second session. Is that how it would work?
That's definitely an option. You'd mentioned something that people can take away with them. So I do see these worksheet type tangible pieces that are coming. The other thing is, I don't know if you've seen that movie 1,000 Words. And in that movie it was very spiritually touching. I was surprised, but there's a component in that movie and a focus around this book that's maybe, it's like the smallest, thinnest book, and so this publishing company is like laughing at it, but realistically it holds the key to happiness, so to speak, to state it loosely. And I have had that vision of being able to take something like the Glide Guide and turn it into that very simplistically useful tool. And that's a big part of my focus as well, keeping it simple and effective and deep, all rolled into one.
Okay, so let me, I'll cut to the chase then, since you have to go back to work. I really like this idea as a concept. I think that it needs a lot of work, and I would love to work with you on it. And hone it to a place where we can actually create a product out of it. Right now, I'm not clear on the product, okay? So like when I was conceiving my own product, I didn't know it would have 50 modules exactly, but I knew, I stood and I listed the steps of everything I had to do when I bought a domain, and I saw how many there were, and I was like, wow, okay, I could either have longer classes where I cover a lot of these things, or I can really break it up and do individual things. So in each one of those 50 steps, there's 100 clicks or something that has to happen. In this, we have to get that clear. We're going to have to create either from a case study, and this is what we would do in coaching, in working together on this product. If you wanted to do this, we would have to take a case study, okay, and it would either be a fictitious case study or a case study of one of your former clients that you've actually led them through, and we would have to spell out the entire thing. And from there, we would have to determine how many sessions to have this transformation and this breakthrough.
Gotcha.
What areas do we deal with? And before we can actually go and make a product, we have to see the whole thing finished in our minds and then start with the end in mind. So to me, what's missing is a little clarity in the way that the product is going to play out, and I would be happy to work with you on that. In coaching sessions, it would take some details that I posted on my instructor group last week about how that would work. I could re-coordinate with you off the air and figure out how that works. But if you'd be willing to do that with me, I would love to work with you for a couple of sessions and then have you back here on a future Pitchnado where we can actually present the idea in, so that other people who are watching this now or later could actually see the progress in terms of how we hone an idea and how we get it together. If you'd be willing to do that, you know, I could tell you right now that I would like to do the product with you, but I'd like to take it through those steps. I'd like to coach that process so we're clear on what we're having, and then come back and kind of re-pitch it when we have a better idea of what it is. Would you be open to that?
Yes, I'm definitely open to that.
Okay, so that would be terrific. So what's going to happen is when we get off the air, you're going to go back to work. I'm going to hear from Hazel and go through a similar process, and then I'll contact you later and we'll set up those sessions to get started.
Awesome, Evan. Thank you so much. Wish I could stay.
I
Enjoy,
wish you could
Hazel.
too. I really enjoyed you being here, and I'm looking forward to working with you. Thank you for coming to the first Pitchnado and stepping up first. I really appreciate it, Krista.
Yeah, thank you. I'll talk to you later.
All right, well, take care.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
Okay, terrific. So we just had our first pitch, and now we're going to go to the next pitch, which is Hazel Moore. And Hazel, go ahead and unmute yourself. Hazel is a spiritual life coach. I do some spiritual life coaching as well, and that's what attracts me to Hazel and where she's coming from. We speak a lot of the same language in spirituality, and so I'm actually going to put on my little spiritual life coach hat while I listen to Hazel, because this is going to be really juicy. I'm really excited. Hazel's also a published author. She collaborated on a book with Krista and some other great coaches. And I've had the pleasure to work with Hazel in several coaching sessions. And what I love about Hazel is she is an action taker. And Hazel doesn't waste time. She gets things done. She's very technically savvy. And so without further ado, I'm going to introduce Hazel Moore, Spiritual Mastery, and let's see what you want to pitch today, Hazel. You're on.
Okay, hi Evan. Well, thank you for that introduction. Yes, I am a spiritual teacher, a mentor, and a life coach. And my pitch today, the title of my pitch is Conscious Evolution. The tagline is Ending Crucifixion, and it's going to take the form of a webinar to start with, to have an overview of what my whole course is going to be about. So I reckon that will be a live webinar taking up about 30 minutes of people's time, maybe a bit longer. The whole outlay of my course is going to be 6 videos. Each week there will be a video. The first one is on breathe, relax, and find the spirit within. This must resonate with people. That's my first week's lesson video. The second week is going to cover duality thinking versus unity consciousness, and how to recognize which level of consciousness you are actually living from. The third video, this is the third week now, is owning your magnificence as a pure vessel for your spirit. Leave behind karma and pain and suffering. So this is about the purity of presence, and it replaces judgment. The fourth video is deal with your energy leaks, deal with it once and for all, with your fears and your shadow self. The fifth video is deal with your negativity, your resistance, and your addiction to drama. The sixth video, and I see this as an ongoing thing, a series if you like, but I've finished it for the sixth video, Inside Meets the Outside, Equilibrium. You can turn anything around. Each video will have an accompanying audio, MP3, and an accompanying PDF, because people learn in different ways. So there's going to be a visual for those kinds of people, there's going to be an audio, and there's going to be a PDF for those that like to read. So who needs my product? Everyone needs this product, because it is taking people to a whole new level. I want to shift people out of transformation. I want to shift people to living from their spirit. This is the next step for mankind. Mankind can go nowhere unless they get a spiritual part of their lives flowing through them, because everything has come to a standstill in my understanding. So everybody who really wants to go forward and live from personal happiness and fulfillment must include that spiritual consciousness. So why do they want it from me? Because I'm good at what I do. I get people shifted, not over 2 years of counseling or coaching, but in 1 or 2 sessions. And my gift is that I see energy. So this is the fast track, if you like, but that doesn't take away from the fact that people still have to do the work. But there is a fast track in that I can zoom right in and pinpoint it. Why do I want to partner with Evan? Because Evan created Ninja Blog Secrets, which I am a part of, and the man is a master with technology, and that is what I need. I need the technology, the know-how to get my business flowing smoothly online. I can't do it without that. I need to learn how to make good YouTube videos with music and animated graphics, make my PDFs attractive, these kinds of technical skills that I just do not have right now. So, and Evan, I'm hoping, has got a large email list. So that's my pitch, Evan. I don't know how long that was.
Okay, that was a good pitch, Hazel. I really like the way that you have systematized this product, and so I hope that I hope Krista's able to watch your pitch later, and we'll take a look at it, because I like the way you went through it. Now, of course, I have a lot of questions, and we'll get into that as we work on the product too. But a lot of the okay, so here's what I like, and then here's what kind of the challenges are that I'm seeing. And obviously, I don't think any of these challenges are insurmountable. What I like is that you have a structure. Okay, you know that you want to lead with a live webinar, and you want to introduce some of these topics. So I want to talk a little bit today about what we're going to cover in that webinar. Just a little bit, and then I like that you have a 6-video system, and that the video also has an audio and also has a PDF. That is exactly the way to do it. As you said, there's audio learners, there's visual learners, there's audio-visual learners, and being able to create those videos and actually do the other, you know, get the audios out of the video and get them transcribed into a PDF. Probably have to do some editing and formatting on the PDF, but that's something we can actually do without a lot of trouble, is create all 3 of those elements almost at the same time. So I love where you're coming from there. Where you lost me a little bit is a little in some of the heady topics, which obviously you know, we can't go into right here in a lot of detail, because then we won't have the product to actually go into it there. But what we do need to do is demystify a little bit of some of the topic headings. So I got lost a little bit in the 6 titles, and even though I like the fact that there were 6 and each of them had a module and each of them had a title, the titles themselves I'd like to work on in our coaching, possibly, because it kind of lost me going through it, and I wasn't sure exactly what that meant. It didn't hit me emotionally. And so I want to get into that a little bit more in terms of how do you reach people, you know, as a spiritual coach. Obviously, if somebody comes to you as a spiritual coach and they're looking for a spiritual element in their life that they feel is missing, it's an easier conversation to have. Where I see some challenges, not that I disagree with this, is that if people don't have a spiritual element in their lives, it's hard to be happy, you know, and some people may disagree with that, and then maybe they're not the ideal client for this type of a product. But I wanted to touch on that a little bit more in terms of framing this product to reach the widest audience possible. What are they going to see in this webinar? Is it going to introduce all these 6 topics? Is it going to talk about life generally? Is it more a background on where you're coming from and who you are, or what is it going to be showing in that first webinar? I think it's really important to have a first webinar. And so my question is that, what do we cover in that first webinar that's going to really bring people in and draw them in and make them realize, okay, I really want to do this program?
Okay, well, the way I see the webinar is going to be the umbrella. I'm going to introduce myself, just a short background of me, because I want to take the time up, taking people from the ground up, from their physical body, their physical consciousness, to their emotional, to their mental, and all of that comes under the umbrella of the spiritual consciousness, and word it in such a way that if they understand my words and they can resonate with what I'm saying, I will use a couple of histories from my clients to explain about depression and so on. You know, so I'm going to use live examples of where I have coached people through. So I'm going to explain the levels of consciousness in very simple terms. So that's going to be the umbrella. And then briefly outline what each week is going to be covering. So that's the way that I see the webinar. And I don't want it to be longer than 45 minutes, really. I think that's long enough for people to listen to the language, the emotion of it, where they can benefit, and so on. So,
okay. So following up on that, just to make sure I'm understanding, when you say the levels of consciousness, what comes to mind for me as a yogi is the koshas, the layers of existence. So there's, the way I see it, there's the way I learned it, there's 5 koshas, or 5 sheaths of existence, and there's really 3 that we focus on in spiritual practice or yoga practice, and I want to make sure I understand. It doesn't need to be my system. I just want to know if I can analogize it in yours. So there's the body, the Annamaya kosha, they call it. It's the food sheath. We feed the body, and the body lives and breathes, and it's our host. But it kind of left alone, it's kind of a zombie consciousness. It just wants to feed and reproduce and fight and survive, and that's the body. Then there's the energetic sheath, the pranamaya kosha, which is the life force, and it travels on the air, so it's the pranic sheath. And then there's the mental sheath, the manomaya kosha, which is the mind and the thoughts. So if I'm explaining that in a class, I would say, you know, you may be standing on your yoga mat, and the teacher may say, inhale, reach up, and exhale, reach down. And, you know, 2 people next to each other doing that process could be having completely different experiences. One person could be conscious of the fact that they're standing on their yoga mat, and as they're breathing in, they're moving their arms up, and as they're breathing out, they're lowering their arms, and they're in full consciousness. Someone else next to them may just be breathing in, breathing out, and they're actually thinking about what they've got to do after class, and they're kind of hungry, and they're thinking about what they're going to eat, and all 3 sheaths are working differently there. Whereas if you bring them together, that's when you can have this kind of holistic experience, because you have multiple layers of your consciousness doing the same thing at the same time, being fully aware that they are working in concert with each other. Is this at all similar to what you're talking about?
It is, Evan, yes. I want to use words that are uncomplicated so that people that are into your way of expressing your consciousness understand what I'm saying as well. I would also bring into that webinar, or certainly into the first video, which is breathe, relax, and find the spirit within, that if people are not mindful, that is when they need a one-on-one session with me, because I will bring them to that mindfulness in that moment where I see them not in mindfulness. So I would explain that some people can't do this on their own. They need someone to keep bringing them back into the now, into their presence. And as I do that with the client, whether it's on Skype or offline, they actually get it. They really get it, Evan, when they are shown, but your mind is over there. Yeah, it was. And that's why you're not understanding what I'm saying. Because when you understand and you come into mindfulness, your body tingles or you have some resonance. And if you don't have that resonance, then you are missing your body consciousness, soaking up your spirit. So, you know, it would, you know, briefly, I would explain that.
Okay, so how do we reach, this is a similar question that I had to Krista, how do we reach multiple people at the same time if it will become necessary or may become necessary for some or even many of those people to then have to come and engage in a one-on-one coaching session at the beginning? How do we systematize a product and reach a lot of people with it?
Well, I would have a community page where they would be able to ask me questions, or they could send me a personal email, and according to how I decide, you know, I would either answer their emails personally or I would invite them for a 15-minute check-in with me, which would be part of the product. So there's going to be a community forum, and I would also, those that are really stuck, invite them for a, you know, quick session with me.
Okay, this is good actually. So there's going to be certain elements that are systematized, and there's going to be a high touch element to the product where people can actually reach you with the Facebook page and ask you questions similar to the Ninja community and be able to coordinate with you and meet with you if necessary. Okay. Perfect.
Definitely.
I love this. I really love this. That I think it's a solid pitch. I think it obviously is going to take some work to flesh out the particulars, the technology, and you know, sometimes what you're talking about is technology, and sometimes it's graphic design sense, and sometimes it's mixed. So at some point in, you know, like I didn't make my logos. I hired out for them, but I took those logos and I used them to make all different kinds of elements, headers for the site, different handouts and things. So in that sense, once we have, if there's anything we need to get a logo made or something, we go to designers for that. Once we have those, we can use the different tools and technology to create the different website elements that we need or downloadables, things like that. And at some point it becomes just a matter of money. If you want to have something highly professionally designed, you know, we create the rough sketch of it, and then we go out to a designer and we have them kind of pretty it up a little bit. And that's what I did with Ninja Blog Secrets. I basically only did the logos I hired out for, and I created everything else about it. So some of it has a kind of DIY feel to it, but as I'm getting better in some of these tools and I gain some more sensibilities, you start to see my elements look better as well. So I like where you're coming from, Hazel. I would love to partner up with you on this. I see this as an equal partnership for sure. It will take the coaching process, as I discussed a little with Krista and on my page, where we're going to meet regularly for sessions, and we're going to create and plan this product, and then each week or every other week, however often we're meeting, you'll have assignments where you go off and either work on or creating the next element, booking with me as you need to refine the idea or get more training in a certain area. Are you ready to do this process?
Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah. I've got
Okay.
it all. Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah.
Okay, because you are an action taker, and I totally expect you to nail this one and knock this one out of the park, actually. So it's going to be fun to work on. Do you have any questions that you want to share online with this? Because I know where we're going to go from here. I'll contact you. We'll set up our coaching. We'll get started.
Okay, yeah. Well, at this stage, no, not really. I've got the structure. You know, I know my next step already. Not really, Evan. I don't think so. Not right now. I see it as a series. I don't. I see this as just the beginning. I've got a school inside me. There's so much, and once I get something like this under my belt, you know, like a 6-week e-course or whatever I'm going to call it, I just see this as the start of a whole new ball game for me.
Well, I love it. I love where you're coming from, because if one product congruently leads to the next, you're serving two needs. First of all, you have to start somewhere, right? And you have to find where your clients are and where your customers are. And then through engaging with them in your starter product, you find out what their needs are, and you're able to create more from there to take them deeper, take them farther on the journey, the ones who want to come. And it's a sequential thing, and in the process they're in relationship with us, they're getting to know you better, and I think it's wonderfully thought out. So I'm excited to start this. I'm excited that we had this pitch session. We're just coming up on the hour, so actually we're over the hour, but since we had 10 minutes of technical stuff at the top, we've had a full hour of content. I didn't realize it was going to go this long, but I think it was really productive, and I want to thank you for being here and for taking the time and for bringing your pitch here. I think it's a very beneficial environment to be discussing ideas like this. For people watching this session, I hope you have inspiration and you want to come and pitch me. I'm going to have another one of these relatively soon, maybe in a couple of weeks, so we can keep doing these things kind of regularly and get more ideas to the table and start making more products. The reason this is really exciting, among other things, is because what Mike has created at the School of Online Business is a culture where, you know, we're all able to develop our products, develop our ideas, work with like-minded people. So I want to thank Mike and Robin Lynn for bringing you to me, and Krista as well, and bringing us all together and allowing us to interface like this. And I'm really grateful for this process. And what we have here is like an incubator for our ideas. So to be able to create this starter product, be able to offer it on the SUB platform, School of Online Business platform, and work out the kinks and iron out any difficulties is invaluable. And I think this is something I know in NinjaBlog Secrets, as I have the product available inside SUB, you know, for a while before it was available outside. And I'm learning a lot from the process and being able to engage with other coaches, especially who understand the value of feedback, and the feedback that I've been getting is extraordinary. Thank you, by the way, for the kind words that you said about me. I really appreciate that. And that's it. I'm going to cut this short. After an hour, in 10 minutes, we'll cut it short. And I just want to thank you, Hazel, very much. I want to thank everybody who's watching. This video is going to be available as a video on demand on YouTube. As soon as we stop the broadcast, it'll process, and then after a little while, it will be available for viewing. So if anybody wasn't here for the live event, you'll be able to catch the replay. So again, I'm going to stop the broadcast now. And Hazel, I'll contact you offline. Thank you, everybody, for coming to the first Pitchnado, and stay tuned for more events like this. I'll announce them soon. Thanks a lot, everybody.